Well, I guess you can start off talking about bad luck. Drama. Guess what I did today, guys? Yeah, we can laugh about
Destroyed
It's funny. It's funny.
G-Man's back window in his car
Destroyed
today.
G-Man's baby or car.
Hello, guys. Whoever's here. Hello, Sandra. What did you do today? She asked.
Good question.
Well, what I did today was I went out into the country, had a wonderful morning, came back and cleaned the bejesus out of G-Man's car, shaved Sandy so he can be cool in this heat, and then went out to clean my car and got it stuck in the mud. Tried to pull my car out of the mud with G-Man's little car with a wire with a clip on it. The clip broke, went flying into G-Man's car, and smashed his back window.
What?
Completely.
You did that to my car?
Yep, it was an eek moment. So went and told G-Man about it. Do it. He made fun of me for trying to pull the car out. Little car with a little car with a little wire. And we set up somebody to come and fix the car on Monday. But the front windshield is cracked too, so he's going to get the front and the back done with a special deal. But yeah, a wonderful day turned out to be kind of a shitty day. But we made it through. I'm kind of tired, worn out about the whole thing. Zen Mommy's going back to California. She was supposed to go this coming Wednesday, but she didn't have anywhere to stay until 30th. So she was going to change her tickets, but looks like she can't change her tickets. So I don't know what's going on with Zen Mommy and Storm. They'll either leave on the 22nd or the 30th, something like that. And G-Man's going to get my little car fixed, and I'm going to try to make a run down to see Sandra and Michelle for their experience. That's true. I wasn't at work doing what other people want me to do. G-Man's all good with it, but it was just dumb, and I hate doing dumb things. Totally fixable, but still. I'm assuming, Sandra, you did send me the address and the exact dates in and out down there, because I think it's going to take about 7 hours one way to drive to you and back. So I need to know how long I'll be there. And I need to know if Inca can come on this trip. She really needs to come with me. So, yeah. Uh, I guess if I'm gone when Zen Mommy needs to go on the 22nd, I guess she can catch an Uber or something to get there. Not sure exactly how that's going to work. And then I'll be down there with you guys for a few days. Hi, Kim. And then be back up here for a couple weeks, and then go to Washington with the guys, and then come back and make sure that G-Man's all set and ready to go. Then I'm not sure where I'm gonna go. Krista's talked about me coming back up to visit her in New York, and I'm thinking about running up and seeing Jeannie and Rich's girlfriend. So yeah, and we've got a new follower that lives over in Washington, and she has an apartment that she needs worked on. So that sounds like that would be fun too. That would get me over on the West Coast, which means I could see Mario again probably, and maybe Shelly. Anyway, play it by ear. How things turn out. That's usually the best way of doing it. Just kind of seeing how things go. I am still looking at land up in this area. Supposed to, hello, Jonathan. Need to go up in this area. I think G-Man's going to take me up to Asheville because I hear Asheville is a lot cooler in more ways than just weather. So I know Tracy likes Asheville a lot. So I think I'll go up there and take a look and see up there as I go wandering around and about, up and around. A little draggy today. How did you guys like time with Stephanie again? Thank you for letting her fill in for me. If anybody has a chance to go to the concert that's Evanescence and Lindsey Sterling, you should go. It was awesome. Uh, Evanescence, I think, is a much bigger star, but she let Lindsey Sterling in the concert, and Lindsey is way into high vibrations and positive thinking and getting things done. And she even brought up Dr. Emoto's water experiments. So if you don't know about those, you should look it up. Asheville is gorgeous, gorgeous, gorgeous. Well, I like that. Gorgeous is good. Checks off one part of our requirements. Absolutely. All right, ladies and gentlemen. Do you have any questions for me this fine evening? And Jonathan, you are writing down your questions through in between, right? Oh, that's Asheville, natural setting and peaceful. I do like that. I hear that the price of land is a little bit higher though, and I'm always concerned about that. But we don't want to be in the city. We want to be in the country. So we'll be checking on the prices in all these areas. I'd like to be about 10 or 15 minutes from a small town and within an hour or two of a city, or at least some way to get on a train or a plane and get to the major cities. Because Stephanie likes concerts and conventions and Renaissance festivals and anything to do with the LGBT community. Can you talk about why I might feel energy from someone sometimes and not at others? You are feeling energy from everyone all the time. The practice is in learning to identify all of what you're feeling, and you do that. You start with one thing, and then you add another thing, and then you add another thing. And since there are infinite vibrations, you can never learn them all. I've learned a lot over the last 10 years, even backdating my whole life, and I'm still far from learning them all. I don't expect to learn them all in a single human lifetime, but I can put them together pretty quickly now. So it's just practice, dear. Don't get stuck on the one that you know. Just mention it to yourself and go, okay, I got that one. Now let's see what the next one is. That's how you learn. Don't get stuck in one. Just keep moving on to the next one, which will lead you to the next one and the next one and the next one. And that's how you grow your telepathic vibrational understanding relationship with the language. Um, how does all that feeling energy work? Well, technically, there are people who send energy better. Those are the great creators of all times. And then there are those, because this is a dualistic place, Then there are those that read vibrations better. I'm the reader. I don't create as well as I read. Um, and the process, of course, is for those of us who are stronger in one or the other to learn the opposite side as we head into 5D and much more towards oneness. How it plays out is very, very individualized. You'll have to learn to start trusting yourself. And people do it in different ways, some with smell, some with vision, some with instinct, some with touch, some with painting, some with music, some with dance. There's many, many, many ways of learning these vibrational languages. And you have to be open to all of them and accepting of all of them from all different directions and all different people. So just because they don't do it like you doesn't mean that they don't do it. So the trick is to watch what they're doing and see if you can find or learn something to add to the way you do it from them. Not to try to change them, but to learn something from them. Otherwise, they probably wouldn't be put in your world. You're there to learn something from them. Either there's something that you need to correct in yourself, or there is something that they can teach you, or you can learn by just observing them. Okay. And I like mountains, even though mountains without snow on the top are really just kind of hills to me, but they're pretty. Sandra says, seems like when I feel things over my head, it is my higher self. If that is what you believe, if that's where you believe your higher self is going to be talking to you from, then I would listen to it. My higher self is much closer. That doesn't mean that it's more right or less right than yours, but mine is like right here, frequently right there. Gaia tends to come from my high heart area, like right here, above your heart. Um, my highest self or my connection to source tends to be up here above my crown, but it's much stronger, usually very defined. So, just talking to beings on the other side, you don't need to break it down into who's who at first. They're all going to be telling you the same thing, usually. So, it doesn't really matter which one you're talking to, whether it's the sun or Gaia or Source or one of your pub friends or whatever. The important thing whenever you're feeling it is, does it feel right? Does that seem like something you should add to your to what you're doing in your life, or does it feel terribly wrong? If it feels terribly wrong, I don't care if it's from what you think, your higher self. You just say, no, not yet. It's not time for that yet. Check back with me later. Really go off of your instincts and that feeling of whether it's right or wrong right now. Kim, I used to have these vibrations about my mom, and I don't realize that mom feeling was a vibration till I started awakening. Yeah, she's the people that you've known in life, they're the easiest vibrations to recognize, especially if you don't get caught up in a lot of the part that they played here. If you can go to the essence of them, they're the easiest ones of all to feel because you've got lots of practice with them if you just trust it and allow it. Usually they're easier to talk to too because they've been here, they understand the time frame, they understand the vibrational speech level. So sometimes it's a lot easier to talk to them. I feel non-physical on left and physical on right. Yeah, and your requirement is to merge those two sides. That left and right thing also has to do with undivine masculine and feminine. So there's a lot that you need to resolve with that, Sandra. Um, yeah. But it's good that you're aware of it because that's how you start. That's how you start. Is knowing where you are and which side and trying to get one side to get used to the other side's way and kind of go back and forth into a balancing state rather than a division of sides. They need to start going back and forth so that eventually they can merge together as one. Good. Good, Kim. You know you feel the vibrations. Now the trick is to learn what they mean. A lot of times people get vibrations, but they interpret them wrong. So just knowing the vibration does not mean that you know what that vibration means. You've got to take the judgment out and go with the instant instinctual knowingness as to what that vibration means, truly means, in a much deeper way than in a human way. Not in a third dimensional or fourth dimensional way, because true vibrations are very intense. They're very, 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 very multi-layered, very multi-layered. And I did want to say, I don't think I've said this, but I was looking at the last time I did a video, I was talking about the sun and the moon and them splitting apart, but they will go back together, but that's much further down the line. And the next day, um, Michelle sent me a painting, a 3 painting deal series. And actually, what she was painting, which about tore out my heart, she painted the actual division of Gaia, where she split apart and became the sun and earth. And of course, it'll go the opposite way whenever she goes back. But what she actually painted was the splitting apart. And sent them to Stephanie, and Stephanie said something so profound. And she said, well, that Michelle is like an automatic writer with paints, and she is. And I told you guys that her stuff is very movement, like a movie, and mine is very. It's not static, but it's like, like instead of being long like a movie, my paintings are deep. So they're statement on top of statement on top of statement on top of statement, all at one time, or you can reach down through them as you understand them. And that's the difference between our paintings, which are very, very, very different. But I wanted you guys to know that you really need to become more aware that you all have your specialties. There's not a being here that does not have a specialty. There's not a human, starseed or long-term human, that hasn't been brought here for their specialty. We don't have a bunch of specialists on this planet. There's no need. One specialist got in an area is plenty. So, people like Jeremy is a specialist with song. Um, Seth is a specialist with physicality dance. Maria can show you how to dance between dimensions. Um, Michelle does her paintings that are almost, you can talk to her and she'll send you a painting that will actually lead you to whatever timeline you want to go to. So be very careful what you ask of her. And she also is an expert with the magical creatures as she exists with them frequently. Stephanie is a very strong warrior, and she also spends a good portion of her time in an even higher level than Michelle with magical creatures and beings. Um, Stephanie is very disconnected from the human race, but very connected with the rest of the planet. And Jonathan is dealing with some balancing of the new uh, masculine and feminine right in the middle of Washington, D.C. Daryl is supportive of that more in a masculine way, but somewhat feminine. So is Michael from Greece. Mario is doing a kick-ass job with just massively, he's on masculine. Hardcore. Hardcore. But all of you guys are doing what you're supposed to be doing, even if everybody that's been born says, I know I was here to do something or other. I just don't know what it is. And I've told you guys before, you don't have to know what it is. Vibrationally, you will do it instantly, and you always have from the moment you landed on this planet. You've been doing it. Now you can supplement it with other things that will make it stronger. But if you never find those things, no harm, no foul, because you are doing a fantabulous job with your primary goal, and you don't have to know as a human what that is to get it done. As a matter of fact, sometimes that gets in the way and then interferes with it, so nothing gets done. And Kim, I feel vibration. Okay, Jonathan, Naya, can you differentiate between your own vibrations versus one you have picked up on from another reality? Sometimes it depends upon what I'm doing at the time. I pick them up all the time, and they cause me great deal of problems. But I'm not a blocker. I'm a reader, and I read everything. And I try to um, live in a very bubbled existence so that I can kind of slow them down as they come to me, because so many of them are foreign. As much as I have learned, I've still learned a small part of what's really out there on these planes. So yeah, once I get them and pick them up and go through them, then I can identify them. And once they're identified, I know them forever. Sometimes it takes a while to be able to get the hang of it, like the panic attacks I had the other day. They've tried to come at me 2 other times, but I was able to catch them and slow them down. It kind of made me teary or upset, but they didn't land on full blown chaos panic attack. Now I've spoke with Stephanie, higher selves, Gaia, the Sun, fairies, and Michelle, and it looks like in my roots, which would have been the worst part of my childhood in this skin suit, there's still a tangled mess down there, and everybody's trying to help untangle that. As that was being untangled, that would have been when I was very, very small and very confused. So I can see why that energy coming to light, as well as other energies around me right now, could have triggered allowing for that energy to untangle, and I would have responded to it somewhat, and it would be very reasonable to assume that that would have been the equivalent of pure chaos and pure panic attack in that, dealing with those energies. All of us that are here are learning how to translate these vibrations better, and we do that by interacting with other people. And the trick is how fast you figure out that that is a lesson for you to learn, or if you're busy screaming and hollering at the other person, not realizing that you have drawn them into your life in this circumstance for a reason. And the quicker that you can get a handle on that, the quicker you can look at it not being angry or to be right, but rather to try to figure out why you put this situation in your life. What do you need to untangle? What do you need to learn so that you can go on to the next step? That, of course, is up to you individually. Hi, Miss Kitty Cat, my little sweet daughter. Yeah, I made it through the day. Making light map, playing in the rain with a big open field, free and dancing in the rain. Thank you very much, Kim. That was very lovely. That's definitely a good way to send me vibrations. Dancing in the rain, in nature, yeah, those are some vibes that I could get down on. Yep, kind of, I would say, yeah, rewriting, or not even rewriting, but understanding my reaction to the trauma. would be, I think, a better way of me saying it, because there's no undoing it. I don't want to run from it. I want to be able to face all of it, even the worst parts, and understand why I created that version, how I got to that point. Heads off to the people that got that done, but how I can accept all of that and kind of work my way out of such a big, snarling, difficult event so that I can look at it with amazement, if not joy, at the complexity of it all, of how I got myself into it, how they started it, but I got myself into it. So, yeah, good job, Kim. Good idea to meditate first. There's quite a bit of vibrations you guys could pick up and learn off of me during this video. Um, Quite a bit that's not normally here, that when we get off this website, I'd really like to see, after this live chat, I'd really like to see you guys interact with what was said amongst yourselves. So don't let these live versions in the phone calls or in the interaction. I think Stephanie is trying to put together a WhatsApp group, some way that you guys can very quickly and easily interact with each other. I think this is a nice little vortex of energy. It's not real locked in yet, so I would like to see you guys questioning each other and giving each other's ideas about how you're dealing with the moment to moment, just like I do. But I want you guys to do it with each other. You kind of are a different group with different strengths and difficulties that are in the other groups. So I'd really like for you guys to reach out and start interacting with each other. I would imagine that Jeremy is probably working most of these times. I would like to set a time where he could be involved. Um, Stephanie, is Daryl on this group? Daryl Sanders? I know Jeannie is on the group. Anyway, I'm not sure who is on the group, but I need to know for all of the group members, these guys, you seem to be showing up in a good way consistently. But if there are others in the group that need a different time, well, then I can take one of the times during the week and do it a different time so that others can get on board and communicate. And then those that can't go to that live stream can interact with each other on the WhatsApp group, in the little group, talking back and forth. Okay, yeah, Stephanie, you're going to get on that because you can be the executor of a WhatsApp group for members only. Be sure and get these guys on it together, and may take you a little bit of time to get everybody hooked up and how to use it. But if they interact during the day off and on with these happier and happier thoughts and questions, it will start building this vortex, and this vortex here definitely involves both the masculine and feminine divine and a balancing. So this is important with this particular group. Uh, Copycat, I'm not sure. I don't think so. You don't think so? What? You don't think you can do a used for all members, but not everyone that's a member has started talking in the forums yet. Well, see if you can get emails, to get numbers, to see if you can get them to approve to get on a WhatsApp together. All the members that are on the website. Yeah. Okay, well, That's it. Interesting. Why don't you contact him and see if he's interested in this group? He certainly energetically is very, very close to being on this group. Check and see if there's financial issues that we need to work around for that $25 for him. Um, uh, David Kuhn is close too. As I've told you guys before, this is $25 a month. You get to interact with each other and live stream with me to ask any questions 3 times a week. And frequently you have interaction with Copycat Girl over here, my daughter. And a good place to ask me questions and talk to each other. So what we're trying to do is build this vortex of energy. But if you don't have the $25, let me know. And we'll make allowances. But I will look to see if you're just blowing the 25 on something else, or if you really, really want to be on this system. $25 isn't very much money, but if you don't have any money, it can appear to be a great deal of money. So I just really am putting that 25 out there to get people that can focus on these questions, on interacting with each other, on doing the live streams. We don't need to have a huge number of us. I just want a bunch of us that are very serious about what is done. Each and every one of you have your fortes, you have your strengths. I want you to try to find those strengths and stand up with them. And everybody else figure out what your strengths are. And let's see if we can find them and get you to stand up really, really straight and strong in them. All of you are definitely at a place where you can start learning telepathy. Now it's just a matter of trusting yourself. Start little, start simple, start believing in them, and then you too can access them anytime you like. It is probably one of the most freeing things. It's not going to probably feel like they've told you it feels like. It feels like a tiny voice in the back of your head that feels absolutely right. That every time you ask a question, you just know in that instant that that's the right answer. But the second you start thinking about it or you tell other people about it, next thing you know, you've talked yourself right out of it. It's that process of trusting that instant answer versus thinking yourself out of it. That is the beginning point of telepathy. And all you all have that ability and that option at this point to stop thinking about those answers and just accepting them. You don't have to say anything out loud. You don't have to look like a crazy person to your family or friends. You can do all of it in your head. I did most of it in my head for 5 years. Actually, that's when I grew the most because I didn't have anybody interrupting me in my learning process. Nobody was ever going, "Now you're being stupid," because I didn't allow them to. Okay, well, Stephanie's going to get on the WhatsApp group for this group. And yes, Copycat is my warrior princess magical person who doesn't like humans very well, but she is getting better at understanding them. But for me, she is definitely my warrior. Um, I do not, I do feel sorry for anybody who tries to attack me if Stephanie finds out. She has no patience for that. Yeah, give up public TV contribution and join this group instead. Yeah, you need to do that because public TV is those not the right people. This is a small group, but we are powerful. Remember, it is like other people may go out and they may look for tens of thousands of followers or a million. The people, you guys that I talk to, if I can get you guys to just bump up once consistently, just move up a little, that change that you make affects a million people around the world. each one of you. So it is my goal to stay smaller, but to be very specific about who I'm working with, and they must be very serious. I don't want to waste my time on thousands and thousands of people who really are not making any changes towards 5D when I can do a handful and what? I get up to 100 people that I'm dealing with that I can move them. That's 100 million people being affected on this planet. And if the 100 reach out and do just 3 or 4, look how fast that can multiply without having big numbers. I look at it that I'm playing more the Neiman Marcus game versus the Walmart game. Walmart sells a little bit to a lot of people. Neiman Marcus sells high end stuff to a few people. Well, I've chosen to do it the Neiman Marcus way. So, those who find me, the information is intense. It will move you hard and fast. It will be blunt. It will not be pretty. You're not going to get, butterflies and roses from me. I'm pretty demanding on what you need to do. I'm pretty demanding that you have to do it. And I don't have any problem at all with people that come in and go, nah, this isn't for me, and leave. That doesn't bother me not one little bit. I would rather they did leave. If this is too much, if this isn't the kind of intensity you're looking for, there is no harm, no foul with going playing in a different game. But for Stephanie and me and a handful of us, um, yeah, I say this a lot. This is for the serious people. This isn't for funs and jokesies. These are people that spend the majority of their time spending it trying to raise their vibrations and get to 5D, no matter what that takes. And that means that you just really have to throw away a lot of what everybody else has always told you. That this part of the game is your responsibility. And I can coach you through that, but ultimately it's you that's going to have to do it. You by yourself. One step at a time, one right after the other. You're going to have to stay on board to get to the fifth dimension, and you will do it in your own specific way. We are all a part of one God. And as being parts of one God, we would not do things redundantly. The way that you are going to do your part will be very different than Copycat or me or Kim or Sandra or Jonathan or Jeremy or Michelle or Jeannie or Tara or Krista. Everybody's going to be doing it completely different. Everybody has very, very different lives that they're coming from. And it's very important that everybody does it their particular way. That's why you can't judge yourself, you can't judge others, because they have no idea what way you are going. You're not even sure of it. You have to be sure of your walk and that it's perfect and you're doing it exactly the best way that you know how. But you can't do it that if you're busy worried about what other people are saying you should be doing, because they have no idea what you should be doing. Trust me on that. They have no idea. There are too many different of you. I've got a new one up in Washington and some new followers that I really like their energy. AJ and down in Louisiana, there's just haven't heard from Daniel in a while. I'd like to hear from him. Wonder what he's up to. But I've been so lucky over the last year to meet so many of you. And after the next month, I'm going to be meeting a whole bunch more of you. And that is stupendous to tie that energy together, to offer it to everyone, because there's no such thing as time and space. So if you want a part of this vortex, you add your energy, your expertise to the vortex, it just makes it bigger and better. It's much better with us than it is with me. Just because my gig is dying and coming back and talking well about it does not mean that my gift, my strength is any better than yours. It is not. Even if you never figure out what your forte is, I assure you, yours is just as important and as good as mine. It's just that mine is kind of, you can see it easier, and sometimes other people's you can't see as easy. But every single person on this planet has a forte. They really, really do. And internet hiccup. There was an internet hiccup. Well, whatever you missed, baby girl, I'm sure you probably figured it out. Okay, any other questions? You got any questions, Miss Stephanie girl? Sandra, you're doing really, really well. Marching with a purpose, kind of like Mario did. You're really beginning to really, be very focused about what you're going to do, even though you're not sure exactly what that is yet, but you're starting to focus it on, I don't know what it is yet, but I'm going there. And that is the first step. That's the way it starts. So keep on doing that. Keep on doing that. Yeah, I know you don't know. I know you don't know what you're doing, but trust me, you are doing a fine job of lining it up. And sometimes that's the hardest part, is to line something up when you don't even know what it is. All right. Jonathan says, had one more question about pub friends. Are they completely outside this creation or closer? Your pub friends are outside the game altogether. They are not in this creation whatsoever, but they are hanging right around your higher self that is right next to the beginning of this game. So the highest self that is the hub of all the aspects of you and all the timelines of you, that hub higher self, that's where your pub friends are. And they are absolutely not in the game, because they could not be effective pub friends for you if they were busy having to deal with the nightmares of this game. So the pub friends never do that. Never have, never will. They won't do that. There have been friends that have come down and go, well, you're going to go down there and be a human. I'm going to go down there too. And sometimes you run into them, but these are not your pub friends. Your pub friends are your crew. They're the ones that are working with your highest self to make sure that things go as smoothly as possible, and that you do whatever it is you intended to do when you came here. Oh, lighted the wrong end of that one. Yeah, they wouldn't do you any good if they were down in the nightmare. About the best things that help you down here in the nightmare would be your familiars, your pets that are your familiars, even your friends that you think are close to you, that you knew on the other side. Maybe you knew them on the other side, but down here in this game, that's not very helpful, because they're right in the middle of the thick of it too. So, um, yeah, you will probably go out of this game and have great fun laughing about it and sharing stories. But down here in it, even a really good friend is not going to be able to help you much, because they're right in the middle of dealing with it too. And people haven't figured out that your job is taking care of your job, not everybody else's. And that process right now is the biggest one going, that's causing trouble going from 4D to 5D, because people are still hung up on, they can leave things like intense fear and intense judgment even, but they still want to be caught up in helping. And that seems to be throwing a lot of people, that they just can't give up that knowingness that they came to help. And they're right. In the back of their mind, they're right. They just have misunderstood what helping means and how it works. They came here to help Gaia, and they help Gaia by standing on the planet, by being born at a higher vibration that will ease those vibrations into the higher dimensions. That is how they help. But they've translated that via human braining into, well, help the poor people, help the sick people, help the poor people, and help the beat up people, help the disadvantaged. They've got it all caught up into that, not understanding that as long as they do that, they will inevitably have to stay in a 4D plane where there are people that need help because they're creating that. They are self imposing themselves to stay in a plane where neediness is the norm. Where in 5D there is no neediness, no one needs help. That everyone is very aware that everything that's going on, if somebody jumped off of a mountain and had no wings and landed flat on their face and died, there would be no helping in 5D. It would be an assumption immediately that that entity wanted the experience of jumping off of that mountaintop in physical form and dying in that matter. There would not be any judgment or need to stop it. And there seems to be quite a big difficulty here, as if the other difficulties were bad enough. This one is really a struggle for people to allow these other entities that are having a hard time to see them as fixing themselves and see a place where no fixing is needed at all. Where are my chats? My chats, oh, they're there. Okay. Wasn't sure if they were just 6D higher non-physical. Yeah, they're really even outside the 6D thinking. Just think that they're outside of time space. Jonathan, your pub friends are outside the game, outside of time space, but they're watching the game very, very closely. So they're very focused on this linear time space game, and your pub friends don't take a lot of their energy and go wandering around at other places. They have agreed to take most of their energy and surround it to assist you in any way that you might need assistance. That is what they've done for you. And they're big entities. They could go running all over the place and split into a trillion different things and be hanging out doing other things. They don't. Your pub friends pretty much take the majority of their energy, and they cover watching all your timelines, all your aspects, how you're doing, anything that you call for. They'll give you support. When your higher self can't be there all times, your pub friends can be. So you've really got your higher self, you've got the sun, you've got Gaia, you've got every entity on this planet that's non human, and you've got a big O bunch of pub friends, and you've got any animal or plant or person that was extremely close to you. They are all doing that. They have taken about all their energy and they're supporting you in this game, in your request to help Gaia, and anything else that you've thrown into the game that you want to do. Okay, I wasn't sure. Kim, I'm so overprotective over you and G-Man. Yes, Kim, you are very overprotective of G-Man and me, but just relax. You need to give us, um, remember, we're creator gods too, and we may mess it up, but we know what we're doing. And we do the same thing with you. When you're having a tough day at work, we take a deep breath and we say, she's going to learn something from this. She knows what she's doing. She doesn't need us to come save her, but she's doing just fine. Sandra, I had that going on. I even looked up the meaning of my name once and found it said something like helper of men. So I thought I had come to serve others. Oh, yeah, they're pretty good about that, especially with women. So But once you truly, truly get what I've said over and over and over, we are all one, we are all gods, then the rest of it makes no sense. If we're gods, each of us, then why would a god need help with anything? The only reason that a god would need help is if a god was deciding to play a role where it appeared that they needed help because they wanted the experience of being helped. In that moment, you have to decide, do you want to be the God experiencing being the helper? But you have to do all of it from that perspective. Not that there's really anybody in need, because there's not. There's a game where it looks like there's somebody in need, that there is an opening for somebody to help them. You have the option to help them or not. If you don't help them, if you don't want to play that game, you say no and walk away. Law of attraction is full of gods that will volunteer to be the helper. It doesn't have to be run by you. The law of attraction will take care of it. But the truth is that if somebody is in need, then they set it up that way because they want to have that experience. You do not have to be the one that has the experience of helping them. If you do want to help them, then go over there and help them. But remember that every time you do that, you're sending out energy, especially if you enjoyed helping them, that you sent that to the law of attraction, which will have to take you to more timelines where more people are needing help. It's just the way it works. So if you want to play in the game of being the helper, you will be drawn to worlds that need help. I do not want to play that game anymore. I want to go to the world where everybody takes care of themselves and that we are having fun together side by side, and there's no need of help of any kind. Uh, why, Kim, you said why? Why are you overprotective of me and G Man? Is that what you're saying? Why about? Kim asked why she was overprotective. She uses internet speak. Okay. Um, because you haven't quite figured out, you haven't, Kim, you really, really don't truly believe yet that everything that G Man and I do, we control. And you don't want to see us hurt. And ultimately, you're going to have to understand that we're gods, we can't be hurt. It's only a illusion of being hurt, or it's an agreement to have that feeling of being hurt. So you have to trust us more. But you're in that process, and that's okay. That's okay. But I'm a god. You couldn't help me if you tried. I wouldn't let you because I'm doing this on my own. So it's going to be a waste of your time. Your time would be much better spent slowly repeating to yourself, I am a god. They are gods. We all know what we're doing. This is going to get more and more fun all the time. So when you go into protective mode, you start saying that mantra. They know what they're doing. They're gods. I'm a god. We're going to get to a place where there's not any problem. And do that with everybody. Everybody all the time. You know, Kim, the reason why you want to help is because you can feel that connection to the higher beings. But you need to take it that next step, and you need to understand that, yeah, we can be one and we can be close, but that does not mean being one and close entails you knowing that I am a creator God and that I've got this. And me knowing that you're a creator God and you've got this, no matter what it looks like to the rest of the world, we don't care. All we care about is whatever's going on with us that know that we're creator gods. If we haven't got it down yet, it's just because we haven't got it down yet. We're still practicing. There's nothing wrong. We're just practicing. Or for some reason, on a higher level, we wanted to go through a certain experience. And it's just not a good idea to mess with a creator God, one that understands what they're doing, and try to interrupt that, because we don't even know sometimes what we're trying to learn until it's over. Once it's over, every time I look back and go, yep, that's about me. That's about what I would do. And yeah, I don't regret it at all. So, anybody that's as powerful as we are, you just don't want to get in our way. You just don't want to get it. You can be fascinated. You can ask questions. You can let us know what you're doing in your creative process. You can ask for our opinion of what it looks like you're going through if you're confused. But ultimately, at this level, it is not a question of stopping people or helping people from doing what they're doing. The only helping we're doing is to help them understand what they are doing. And you can do that much helping, but even then you have to be very careful, because very quickly, if you help too much, they'll bite you right in the mouth and claw your face off. So they have to do it at their own pace in their own way, and they will make sure that if you get in their way when they're in the middle of trying to figure something out, it will not feel good to you. They will make sure that you will back off, especially if it's important to them. So you've got to stop the assumptions that something bad, there's anything you can do to stop it. Instead, try to find out the good as to why it happened. How is this getting us to 5D? How is this taking us the next step to 5D? Yeah, you got it. And right now we're in the middle of, we've got the divine masculine, the divine feminine, the undivine feminine, and the undivine masculine. We've got all these people with all these different versions inside of them trying to get this all balanced so that we can go to 5D. Some will not, and we'll go down to 4 and off to 3 again on another planet. Others will do the balancing job and they will get it done, and it will take them to 5D. But the balancing is the part that's important. It's a very, very tricky bit, is this balancing, because you can't, it's not a transmutation. You don't kick out the undivine. You look at it in wonder for what it was able to do for us to get us to have the experience of 3D. Thank you very much. Now, how can we take this undivine and merge them with the divine and put this in such a way that it adds to the whole, the oneness, the all that is? That's what we have to do. Okay, that's how this works. That's how this plays out. It's we're now in massive balancing, which is probably why I had panic attacks, which I've never had before, and I'm really, really tired. Is I've been one-sided my whole life. I've been very, very undivine masculine, undivine feminine, to the point of almost having no experience with the other side. So now I go hang out with Mario, and he comes dragging in massive of divine masculine. Surprise, here, okay, here I go. And then I come up here to help G-Man, and I get slammed with all of this divine feminine, and all of this needs to be meshed and molded and balanced in the super way, in the best way, in the most beautiful way, in order to get us to 5D. Now, my way of doing that is going to be much different than your way of doing that, because my vibrational makeup is very different than you. So don't be judging people on how this will take place for them. It depends upon how much divine they have had in their lives, how much undivine, how much feminine and masculine, how much divine and feminine of masculine that they've had, and how they can integrate all of this into their system and ground it onto the planet and beyond. Each one of us, this is a very tricky part of this deal. Now, you'll do it a lot easier if you learn telepathy. So that needs to be done too. At the same time, you're doing this balancing act and accepting in these new vibrations. So this is a handful right now, guys. It's the reason why I'm not reaching out to a whole bunch of new people, since even the handful of people that I have are struggling with these basic concepts. And these are major, major concepts. Um, my daughter says we are getting a massive increase in guys showing divine signs, which is nice to see. And I agree, I'm seeing that massively here. I'm seeing the divine feminine respond back as well, dropping off a lot of the undivine feminine. They are very quick and very easy to respond to the divine masculine all around me. I will remember when y'all see under the attack that y'all are gods, but I will be supportive and be there. You go. Um, Nobody can really attack me. I can look the wrong direction and allow in the wrong vibrations, and they can get further than they would. But before long, I'm going to figure out what's going on and get it fixed, because I am a god. Now all I've got to do is catch it, say, go away, and get myself back into place. Now, sometimes that takes hours, sometimes seconds, sometimes days, sometimes weeks, but I'll get it done, and I'm responsible to get it done. Not you, me. I'm responsible for it. You can't do it for me anyway, but I do appreciate you visualizing me doing it quicker, easier, softer, gentler. That you certainly can do. Stumbling around in the dark. Yeah, stumbling around in the dark. That's pretty much what we're all doing. Trying to learn how to figure out how to turn on those light switches and make it not quite as dim here. And it is possible. Every vibration that you learn does illuminate a little tiny bit of this place. It does make it make a little bit more sense. And maybe it's just the same amount of light as on a firefly for a moment, but in the dark, that can give you a lot of hope, of ease, and the ability to take another step. So yeah, count your blessings for those times that start to make sense. Yeah, exactly. All right, guys. Well, that's it for me. We've gone over just a tad, not much, but just a tad. I love you guys so, so much. And this was wonderful. Again, I say to you, try to write down the events that have happened or any questions that you have for next time. All right. And this is the 16th. So I will be talking to you on the 18th, which I believe is Saturday. So I will see you on the weekend. Okay? I love you so much. And Michelle, Sandra, send me good vibes so I can come down and see you. Okay? Bye bye, guys. Love you, love you.